Bubble sort in Python program. Now this is the bubble sort main algorithm. If you want to sort a list, the bubble sort is going to tell you that how it is going to do. Now as a start, what it is asking you to swap the adjacent elements. Now here the example is 12 and 7. If you want to sort, that means if you want to make these numbers in ascending order, you are going to swap this first two element and you are going to take this greatest value to the last element. That is the bubble sort algorithm concept. Now I'm going to explain you how to do swap in Python program. Before that, if you have seen the first step, it is going to tell you that how we are going to swap this array 0 and array 1 based on the greater value. Now 0 value, first we will check it is greater than the 1 value, element 1 value. Then we are going to swap each other. Now this is the way I have written. I will tell you for reason for that. 0 plus 1 means 1, and what we are going to do, we are going to take the second value. If it is greater than 0 is greater than first value, then we are going to swap. Second value is going to put into the first value, is the 0, and 0 value, the 12th value, we are going to put into the first array element. Now I'm going back to the Python program to create a new Python project. We will make it as a project 3, project sort or something. And you have to make sure that you have a base interpreter already installed in your machine, and you are going to create the project. Right, this is the array list we have. First, what we are going to do, only we are going to discuss about the swap of 12 and 7. Now project is created. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create the first Python file. But for this demo, I will create many files to make you more comfortable on this program. Therefore, first I'm going to explain about this swap. Right. First I will create this array in this a list. Well, 7, 10, 3, 2. This is the array. Now first condition is we are checking that a list, you don't need to type anything, you can directly take the after defining it. A0 greater than array list first value. This is the first condition. Then we are going to swap. First we are going to put into the A0 A1 value. For the A1 value, this is the A1 value, we have to put the A0 value. Okay, we have done the first part. For this, start in two numbers. 12 greater than 1 first value, then we are going to swap. Now I'm going to execute this program. Right now there is no error, but we haven't seen how this is swapped. Therefore, we have to use print statement to see your array. Now we are going to see your array using this print statement in list. Right? Again, I am execute. What happened? Now first number comes to the 0 location. First element comes to the 0 location. But what happened to the 12? 12 is disappeared. Now again we have to think about the first statement you have written. You directly assign the second value into the 0 element, then the 0 element is overridden. Actually, it is erased and override with the 7th value. Now, again what you are doing? Now 0 is now having 7. The number is replaced with 7. 12 is replaced with 7. Again you are going to put it 7 into the second. That is the reason it is coming as 7 7. To resolve this, first what you need to do, without replacing the first value, you need to take that value into some kind of temporary variable. I will define it as a temp. And you are going to put the 0 value into the temp. Now it is safe now. Now it is going to override in the second step, but we have value in the temp variable. Now the 12 in temp variable, we have to assign into the first value. Therefore, now what I am going to do, this temp value I'm going to put into the first array element. Now this is the way we are going to overcome this problem. Okay, now I'm going to execute. Now it is set now, because it is correctly, we keep the first 0 value into the temp variable, and later we will assign into the first value if it is greater than. Now this is the basic concept of swapping. Now I'm not going to change this. You can keep it because you are going to start your programming. Therefore, you can understand whatever you have written, and later you can enhance it. Now this is the way you are going to enhance. First you can copy this, and you are going to create another file here. Another Python file as S1. Okay. It is already exists. I can create it as S2. And I am going to paste. Now this is actually hard coded because we have to swap all the values one by one. Therefore, what I am going to do, I have to introduce some kind of loop, because first I need to swap 12 and 7. Second, after that you have to swap other two values. Likewise, we have to go further. I will draw and explain what we are going to do now. This A list, twelve, 7, 10, 3, 2. Now first time we are going to swap these 12 and 7. We have written that code here. Now it worked fine. Now 7, 12, 10, 3, 2. Now we need to swap array element 1 and 2. This is the array element 0. Already we have done this. This is the code for that. Okay. To do this, what I need to do, I need to make this code dynamic here. We cannot hard code it like 0 and 1. Now this is the way we are going to do that part. We are introducing the for loop. start in I in range. With this array list numbers, how many we have? 1 2 3 4 5. I just put 5 because I need to execute 5 times. Imagine, like, I'll show you how many times we need to do, but initially we just put 5 and we need to make sure our code is working fine. And I have to make an indentation for this code. You can use the tab and you can make the indentation. And once you complete it, you have to change this to I because we have to increment one by one. But here if you put I here more than 1, then you can keep I plus 1 because no need to change, because you cannot put another variable here because currently we have only one variable, but we need to compare 0 and 1. That is the reason I have given I plus 1. Once it goes to the second, the 0, first time it is the 0, the second time the for loop is 1, then it comes to the 1 here, then it is going to compare with 1 plus 1 2. Likewise, now it is working fine if you have given like this. Now we have to follow the same thing for the inside. 0 is I, here we have to put I plus 1, and here also the same I plus 1. Now we have made this code dynamic, but we will see now our code is correct or not. I'm going to execute the code. Now first one is a syntax error. Now using your Python code execution, you can read these errors and you can find out what kind of errors you have, because in your exam it will ask you, given some code, and ask syntax errors to find out syntax errors. This is one of the syntax error you have seen. It is in your for loop. Now you have already learned Python some extent. You know this for loop. You have to give the colon end of this line. Now we have made that correction. Now we are going to execute again. Now it has given another error. Now we need to read these errors and need to understand why the previously we have executed, it worked fine with these values. After introducing this for loop, now it is not going to execute it properly. Now we are reading the error message. It is saying index error. What do you mean by index? Indexes are in your array list 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the indexes of your array. Now you are looping this one 0. This is the 0 index, array list 0 index. Comparing with 1 index, 0 plus 1, 1. Likewise, you are going till how many times? 5 times. Once it comes to here 5, you are checking with 5 plus 1, 6. Do you have 6 element in this array? No. That is the reason it is going to tell you about this out of range. It is trying to compare out of range values. Now you understood that if you have directly given the length of this array list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this sorting algorithm is not going to work. Then first loop you have to reduce by 1, then it is going to execute correctly. Now you have seen for this first loop what we are going to do. We are going to compare 12 and 7 using the 0 value. Then after for loop goes to 1, then it is going to compare next 2 values. Likewise, it is going further. Once you completed this loop, it is going to take the highest value to the top of your array. Now this is the way it is going to happen. Again, I will start from this A list. 12, 7, 10, 3, 2. Now first loop, it is going to compare the 0 and 1. I'll make this array indexes. Now first it will compare these two. 12 greater than 7, yes, it is true. Then we are going to swap 7 and 12. Then first round, this is completed. Then I value is 0. The second I value is 1. Then it comes to here, it is checking me I value 1 and 2. What is 1 and 2? 12 and 10. Now it is going to compare this 12 and 10. 12 is greater than 10. It is true. Because of that, we have to swap. Now 7. Now swapping the 10 and 12. It is over now. Now this is the array you have given. Then third, again iterate with I equal 3. Then it is looking at the third element. What is the third element? This one, 12 now. 12 and 3, it is going to compare. 12 is greater than 3. That is also true. Because of that, we have to swap. We have to swap 3 and 12 and 2. We have done that also. Then next it goes to I4, because 5 minus 1 can go to another loop, 4. Now it is going to swap 4th element and 5th element. I and I plus 1. I is 4, 4th element and 5th element. 12 and 2. 7, 10, 3. Now 2 comes to here. 12. Now this is the way it is completed. If I equal 5, there is no kind of I equal 5 because it is goes to till 4 because loop is end with 4. Once it ends with 4, the array, the highest value comes to the last position. But it is not sorted yet. It is only taken the highest value. Now what we need to do next, you have to again redo the same thing for these. But do you need to do this and this also? No, because we have already taken this one. Therefore, we can keep this one as it is. Only you need to do this. To do that, again we have to introduce another loop to iterate it. Now I'll show you how to do that. I'm going to keep this as it is because step by step we are going to learn. Otherwise, once we complete it, we have some kind of complex steps you cannot understand easily. But if you make initially starting of your learning, if you follow these kind of steps, then you can easily understand the errors. That is the reason I'm going to create another Python file and I'm going to copy this one. This file is as S3 and I pasted it. Now you don't need to do one line by line. You can select entire because we need the proper indentation. You can press tab and again you can start the next for loop starting from J, another variable in range. Still I have no proper idea what is the range, but I will keep it as it is because I know the array length, the list length, but we cannot keep more than the array because it is out of the index. We have seen that error. Because of that, J also I will keep as it is 5 minus 1. Okay, now we need to execute again this one for another round of time to sort. Now this is the first round, it is completed. Now we need to execute the same swapping logic for the rest of the numbers. Now only I just introduce this, that's all, and I'm going to execute. Again syntax error because I have made a mistake here. You have to put the colon. Now what happened? Now this is sorted because these three also now sorted properly. 2, 3, 7, 10, 12. But this is look like correct program, but I will show you some few modifications to do this code, because otherwise unnecessarily these loops are going to execute. But we need to make sure that your code is correct, not like your answer is correct. Otherwise in one day you are not become a good programmer, because you are not only thinking about the output, but you are not thinking about your computer code correctness or accuracy. Right, now I will make some changes for this code. I will take this code into another file. Now we don't need to keep this kind of hard-coded values. Therefore, I'm going to take it as a variable, and I will take the array length. Then in future we can easily dynamic this array list. We can enter any number of items and we can use this sorting algorithm. Okay. Now I put its n is as n length 12. Now I can give this array list length for like this. It was previously 5. Now I am going to take that 5 into this n and put it like this. Now this is some kind of some extent. It is now dynamic code. Now I'm going to execute again. No change. It is working fine. Now we will add some few elements here and see whether our logic is executed properly. Now it is working fine, expected. Right? We haven't seen any errors. Now it is in ascending order. But this is not 100% correct code. The reason is, as I told before, unnecessarily some steps are executed. Now we are going to find those steps. To find out, again I will reduce this size of this array as it before. Now if you have seen, now this is the way we have did it. A list, we have these numbers 12, 7, 10, 3, 2. First time we have to loop how many times? 3, 4 times. That is the reason length is 5 of this array, but we reduce 1. We don't need to execute 5 times. If you execute 4 times also, it is enough, because you can swap after iterating 4 times. That is one important thing you need to understand. The second important thing is, once you take these highest values to the top of this array, or the end of this array, 7, 10, 3, 2. Now this is already we have completed. But inside this, if you have seen, here the number is 4. How many times this loop is executed? 1, 2, 3. Again it is considering this 12, but we don't need to consider this 12. Therefore, unnecessarily another round of iteration is happening this if you have given like this. For the solution, what you can think, now here we have some kind of loop for the j also starting from 0, j starting from 1, 2, likewise it is also increasing 3, 4. Once it comes to the 0, no harm, it is going to execute this one because there is no kind of first time we need to go for this 4 times. Therefore, we don't need to think about first time. But only concern is after doing the first iteration over, j comes to the first number, then the second, the I has to go 1, 2, 3 times. Now we need to think about how we make this dynamic, how we make this as a 3 once we come to the j second loop, second iteration. Okay, once j comes to the third iteration, that means this is also sorted. 7 and 10 increases, and 10 and 3 is the largest one, and 2 and 10 is the largest one. Once j comes to the 2, then it is come like this. Then j comes to the 3, again we don't need to iterate everything, only we need to iterate this and this 2 times, but we can keep this one as it is. Likewise, once you are iterating this j loop, you can see you have to reduce this iteration, but the answer is correct, but you have to think about unnecessarily executing this 10 and 12. Anyway, it is 12 is greater than, there is no kind of swap here. For that, we have to do some kind of change for this loop here. You can introduce here reducing the j number. Once you iterate in the j, then you can reduce the j number, and you can reduce unnecessary execution of this loop. Now if you have seen 2, 3, 7, 10, 12, the answer is same, but the unexpected or no needed iteration is not going to happen if you ordered like this. This is the correct bubble sort algorithm you have to write in Python. But if you want to write it in the pseudocode, I will explain it the same. We have discussed this swap mechanism. Now you understood what is the importance of this temporary variable. And once you come to the for loop, the first iteration, we have given length of list, but you cannot execute it because it is out of range. Therefore, we have got an exception. Now these are the iterations numbers. How many times we need to iterate? 4 times. That is the reason we have given ALX -1. And to iterate the rest of the numbers, we have introduced another for loop starting from j. That is the second step. Then j is going to execute for the once again for the rest of the numbers iteration or swapping. And we have introduced some variable for this length as n, and we have assigned that numbers because in future we can change this array list and we can enter any number of items and we can see how it is going to sort. And the last one I have mentioned the previous code is correct, but it is executed and we have given the correct answer. But as a computer programming, or one day if you have become a programmer, you have to make your code accurate and no need to execute unnecessary steps as well as unnecessary loops. Then it will might impact for your application. Therefore, from the beginning you have to make your code clean and correct. That is the reason I have given this J and reduced the unnecessarily swapping algorithm executed in minus time, in minus one time we reduced after putting the J. This is the bubble sort swapping algorithm. I have written the algorithm. You can see this algorithm as well as I have explained using the Python code.